All right, Jeff, let's talk about the crazy situation in the NFC East, as we like to call it on the show. We're going to focus on the Cowboys versus the Giants game. And as of Wednesday, that's today when we film the show, Cowboys are favored by 3 points, and the point total is set at 45 points. Now, let's remind ourselves of how this works in the NFC East, okay? It's a little complicated to get into the postseason. Washington wins the division with a win over Philly, and it's just as simple as that. That's all they got to do, beat Philly. If Washington doesn't beat Philly, then the winner of this game will win the NFC East. So these games are really big for these guys. Now, remember when the Giants looked really good a couple weeks ago against Seattle? It just feels like a lifetime ago, right? Because they've lost 3 straight since then, and they've only put up 26 points within those 3 games within that time period. They beat the Eagles 37-17 most recently. In the last 3 games, the Giants have only scored 26 points, as I said. The Cowboys, on the other hand, they've scored 108 points within the past 3 weeks. So big difference there. Jeff, clearly the momentum feels like it's with the Dallas Cowboys right now. But who the heck knows whenever it comes to this division and these teams, right? How do you see this game going? Who you got?
Well, football's a game of runs. It's a game of streaks. And right now, the streaks for the Cowboys are all positive. They're scoring points. A defense that was a month ago, 2 months ago, absolutely awful, has somehow found some teeth. And Jalen Smith is healthy. Leighton Vander Esch is healthy. They're getting some stuff out of their front. They moved Gallimore, the rookie from Oklahoma, in. He's playing well. But most surprisingly, their secondary played pretty well against the Eagles last week. Now, against the Eagles, but still, you can only play the teams that are on your schedule. The Giants, on the other hand, OJ, are trending exactly in the opposite direction. They're offensively so challenged. You mentioned that Daniel Jones, he's not healthy. He can't be healthy. He's not anywhere near the dynamic young quarterback we saw in the early first half of the season. They're beat up. Their front's beat up. Their defense has really taken a step back in the last 2 weeks. So, again, I promised myself I would never bet the Cowboys again. But if, again, a 3-point spread in a game like this that's so absolutely important to their future and an opportunity to get in the playoffs, they've got a number of veteran players on their team. Andy Dalton has been in the playoffs before. He's throwing the ball to a great core of receivers. I truly believe that the Cowboys will cover and win this game.
Yeah, Jeff, I think I'm right there with you. 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have said that, but Andy Dalton is playing very well. They look to have one of the best young wide receiver cores, I think, in the NFL. They're starting to look like the team that I kind of thought they were going to be earlier in the season. And what do you know? It's happening with Andy Dalton. And look, if you think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to come into this game and just do enough, right? Like play game manager with Andy Dalton and just do enough, right? Run the ball a lot, just enough to win this game. I think you're wrong, because conspiracy theory here, I really think that if Andy Dalton shows out throughout this week and then whatever playoff game that they're probably going to get into, we start to question now. I mean, you tell me if I'm crazy, Jeff. Could Andy Dalton be the future of this team? So you bet your ass Andy Dalton, I think, is going to come out there and ball out. Now, I'll let it be said, the Giants, their defense plays really hard for Coach Judge, but I don't think that the Giants have enough. And like we said earlier, with Daniel Jones, since the hamstring injury, it's like his legs have been taken out from underneath him. And when he doesn't have his legs, they don't win games. So yeah, I got the Cowboys -3 and the point total. Here's the thing on the point total. I know the Giants aren't scoring a lot of points, but the Cowboys are. And I think I read that in like 6 out of the last 7 games that the Cowboys have played in, the over has hit. So with the over hitting a lot in Cowboys games, and with Andy Dalton coming out and balling the way I think he's going to come out and ball, I'm taking the over in this game. All right, what do you think about that?
I think, there's a lot of what you said I really 100% agree in, and I will never, ever challenge you when it comes to picking points, because I have never been around anybody that can pick the points better than you. But, again, I think when you talk about Dalton, it's going to be really interesting to see, and this is what fans have to understand. He's been in big games before. He's been to the playoffs. He knows the importance of the whole thing. That's invaluable. The other thing is for him personally, whether it's Dallas or somewhere else, he's playing for his future. And there are teams that are going to be looking for quarterbacks in this offseason. The better he plays, the more his brand is enhanced. The more people will want to come say, hey, what do we got to do to get Andy Dalton? The other guy that is a key to this is Zeke. And for the first time in a long time, last week we saw a little bit of that old Zeke. When he busted off that long run, I thought, that's the energy, that's the juice that we haven't seen exactly. That's the guy that needs to be fed. That other guy they can just put on a diet. But that Zeke, he needs to be fed.
Yeah, he does. He's a big guy. And you know what? Whenever you get "feed me" tattooed on your stomach, and then you show your stomach all game with the jerseys rolled up, you better come out, show up. And little tidbit here. I forgot to say this. Producer Ben, we were talking about this before we got into this segment. 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Dallas Cowboys had like a 1.3, 1.6% chance of making the playoffs. And I just Googled it right now, right before we did this, and now it is at 27%. So that is pretty crazy to think. I really thought that they were dead in the water, and they're not. They've been revived. So what do you know? Let us know in the comments below what you think. You got the Cowboys or you got the Giants? What's your point total? Let us know.